Today's episode is brought to you by Musical Theatre Radio's merch store. Looking for that perfect gift for someone or just want to treat yourself to some great musical theatre themed merch? Head to musicaltheatreradio.com and click on the All Things Theatre button on the homepage and check out all the different designs available. And now, today's interview. Welcome back to another episode of Be Our Guest here on Musical Theatre Radio. I am your host, as always, Jean-Paul Jovanoff. If you are looking for a musical to see, today's episode is for you. So if you are in London, UK, March 25th to the 29th of 2025, head over to the Drayton Arms Theatre to check out the new musical, Fallen Angel. To tell us a little bit more about the show is its creators, Sara, Eker, and Giles Fernando. Hello to the two of you.
Hello.
Hi, Jean-Paul.
Hi, Jean-Paul. And so lovely to see you again.
It's been
wonderful.
So long. I checked before we got on, and it's been 4.5 years since I've been on, having you guys on. You were my 23rd interview back in 2019.
Wow.
And now I'm at like 330 something. So
wow.
Oh, that's incredible. We're so pleased to be back. We really are.
Yeah, I'm always playing your stuff. So
that's so lovely.
Thank you so much. We so appreciate it.
I know that so many people really do, as we said, really appreciate the support that you give new musicals and the fact that you're part of the infrastructure that's really needed to get small shows off the ground and start building a community around new musical theatre. So yeah, really wonderful and amazing to be back then after 4.5 years.
Thank you.
So we look, Sara, do we look the same? We're just checking in soon, you know.
I do.
Few more grey hairs.
Now, because it's been a while, the people who listen to the first one might not remember who you are. So I always ask for a 30-second bio. So Giles, I'm going to start with you. Who are you in 30 seconds?
I'm a playwright who has turned to writing musicals. I have written 5 musicals with Sara, and I have another musical writing partner who I've written a couple of musicals with as well. And I absolutely love musicals. I came late to musicals, but I love the collaboration about it. I love the fact that you're not just sitting on your own like a playwright in a room. You're really working with someone else from the beginning. And also what I love about musicals is something that people have forgotten in playwriting is your starting point is you're there to entertain an audience. And you really never forget that. It's like, I want to give you 2-3 hours of pure entertainment. If I've got a little message along the way, wonderful. If you get that message, great. But if you don't, you've had a wonderful time in the theatre for 2.5 hours. And also reach, you know, if I had you could have a super successful play at the Soho Theatre and it could run for a month and it'll maybe be seen by 2,000 people. But, you know, you can have a great musical and your concept album is out, it's being played by Musical Theatre Radio, it's on Spotify, you know, your reach of the things and the emotions that you want to get out into the universe are so much wider. So yes, that wasn't really about me, was it? It was more about why I love music, and that was way more than 30 seconds. Never give a writer 30 seconds because it'll take 2 minutes.
Yeah, you went well over, Joy.
You know what? But what you said tells us about you. So it's not exactly about you, but it is who you are. So I like it. It'll work for me. So Sara, 30 seconds or more. It's up to you.
So I am a songwriter. I was signed to Universal for many years and travel around the world writing for mostly pop acts. People in the UK will probably know Atomic Kitten and the Honeys and Danny Minogue, and we had hits in all over in South America and Russia and South Africa, all over the place. So it was really exciting times and I got to live my dreams really. And then
you're living your dreams again.
Well, please. Again, obviously. And then I started, then Giles came to me and said, could I write some music for one of his plays? And that one didn't quite work out. And then we started talking about what might work out. And so I started writing the music for our stories and for Giles's plays, and which has been so interesting and taken me in a whole different direction. But I think that because of my pop background, most of what we write is always has a pop tinge to it. So
Yeah, it's got to have a
yeah.
good melody, haven't you? You want to be
Yeah.
able to, you want to leave the theatre and be able to hum one of the
Yeah,
tunes
yeah.
that you
Hopefully
heard.
they're hooky and memorable and tell the story and move people. And like Giles was saying, we just want to entertain people and move them, make you feel emotions and get hairs on your arm
Yeah,
standing up and or
absolutely.
weirdly, Giles's
Yeah,
nose
that's
runs.
true.
When something works really well, instead of like the hairs on his arms going up, his nose starts running. So I know if I've said, "Oh, do you like this melody?" and his nose is running, that we're definitely
Yeah,
keeping that. We're
exactly.
definitely
And
keeping
it's
that melody.
completely involuntary. It's like Pavlov's dog, but Pavlov's nose. It just starts streaming. I can't stop it. So funny. Sarah's been very modest as well because she literally has had this song that was like #1 for like I think about 20 weeks in Mexico. It's like it's
Mm.
anyone who's Mexican knows this song. It's literally like the equivalent of I don't what would be a British equivalent like that one that Bryan Adams had that was #1 forever. Or
Yeah,
like Elton
maybe.
John's like Goodbye English Rose, that kind
Yeah.
of level of fame, but in Mexico.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it was good. Yeah,
it's
and
insane.
we've had songs used in a lot of teen movies that younger people know, and adverts and stuff. So yeah, but it's so interesting to then move that into musical theatre,
And I think
and
that
telling the
captures a bit
story.
of what we're trying to do in musical theatre, which is maybe because I started off as a playwright and I
Mhm.
still write plays actually. In fact, I've got a couple of plays on in London at the same time. It's a very crazy busy year actually. And because Sarah's got a pop background, I really hope that we bring that to musical theatre. So you bring a bit more of the playwriting, like a bit more of the kind of story structure that you would get necessarily in a play and a bit more of that pop vibe into the music. So it just brings something slightly different maybe to what we're getting, just something slightly like bringing bits from other worlds into musical theatre is definitely what interests us anyway.
We've gone way over our
Oh yeah.
30 seconds each.
This is not an interview, is it? It's just a monologue. You
That's
want you
I can
want
just sit back. I can walk out of the room. I can go feed the cat. I'll come back. It's still 30-second bio. That's okay. But I was going to say that I guess we can tell if you guys are having a good writing session by the number of empty tissue boxes that are outside the door in the recycling. I'm like, ooh, there's
yes.
6 of them. They've written a whole show. It's great stuff.
Really, that's like actually true. I'm always running to get Giles a tissue if it's going well, if it's good.
So funny. Oh, it sounds so wrong as well. But anyway, yes. The
So
number of tissues used in a session is a determinant of if it's been successful or not.
so really that should be your sponsor. You should find some tissue company.
Oh
Get them to
yes,
sponsor
Yes.
you.
Oh, you're so right.
There you
yeah.
go.
Oh
So
my God. Great ideas. They're coming thick and fast.
I do what I can. I do what I can. So I'd love to hear, and we might have, it's been 4.5 years. I don't even remember what I said. I should have listened to the interview, but how did the parallel lines of the two of your lives, how did they meet? How did this happen?
It's really weird. I went to school with Sarah's brother.
Mm.
Um, and so we,
My younger brother.
yeah,
So Giles was always like
like,
Stephen's little friend. As
exactly.
in, not you were never that little.
No, no,
You're
but they,
smaller than me. But like, your little brother's friend.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And I think it was just, I mean, we'd always known each other and we'd been friendly,
yeah.
but I think I mean, we had many years where we didn't hang out, like years and years actually, where we
Yeah.
didn't know each other. And then I think it was just one of those things where I had this play
Mhm.
where I was convinced it would make a really good musical. And I got in contact with Sarah and I said, can we just go and meet for coffee with
We
me?
had like seen each
Yeah, we
other
had
over
a
the
little
years.
bit,
Like,
yeah.
and through my brother but yeah.
Yeah, but it was definitely like we know each other, but I mean, we're friendly, but we didn't really know each other that well.
Yeah.
And yeah, then we just met, we had a coffee. Sarah, it was really funny because I was so excited about this show. And Sarah was rightly said, well, I'm not really sure this is going to be a good musical. And also was rightly saying, well, what's the interest for me? This is your play.
Mhm.
But rather than kind of leaving it there and not following on, we just had a conversation about, well, all right, just forget this play, but what would interest you if you were to write a musical, and what would interest me? And I think all good writing partnerships have that thing where they work out where their passions overlap. And at that point of overlap is where they create. Because then you're all firing up and you're both really crazy about it. And so that actual first show was a show called Country Dream, because Sara writes a lot of country music.
I love country music.
And that was, that was at Beam, and it had lots of, unfortunately nothing came of it, but it had a lot of interest at the time. And in fact, one of the songs is on an album in the UK when someone did a country album, and it's one of the songs is on that. So it had a kind of life outside musicals as well. And then from that we started writing together, and then we wrote another show which had a showcase at the Criterion, and then we wrote lots of things which are in various stages of, as you know, like every show you've got, they're all at different levels, kind of slightly different levels up the rung of the ladder to a big full-scale production. And then this was actually one of the last ones we wrote together, I think in 2019, did we? And it got shortlisted for the Stiles and Drewe Prize, and it was, and we were, as I said, we were going to have 2 productions, and then lockdown came and that stopped it. But yeah, the initial starting point was we knew each other, we knew that there might be we might be able to work together. But then the main thing was, I think this is true for any, as I said, just true for any good partnership, is you just start a conversation really, and you see what comes from that conversation. And just kind of being open to, Fallen Angel is a really good example of being open to, whenever, we work with universities a lot, and I love to talk when we start working with students who are, musical theatre students, talking about some of the big lessons you have from a writing partnership. And one of the big lessons is there's no such thing as a mistake. And some of the best things I've ever done have come out of horrible disasters. But the other lesson that we always give them is that just, the importance of collaboration is just saying yes and, like really never blocking someone you work with, always just saying yes and run with it. And I guess that was one of the things we noticed, even when we just decided to sit down for a coffee all those years ago, was actually we could work together because we were listening to the other person's idea and running with it for a little bit. And actually Fallen Angel, I had written a play. This was originally a play. I'd written a play it was a date in real time. And I really wanted that to be put to music. And I went to Sara and said, what about this date in real time? And she said, yeah, I really like that. But what if one of the people is an angel, right, on this date? and everything in me, everything was going, no, what are you talking about? This is my play. But I didn't say that. I just zipped it. And I went, yes, all right, let's run with that and see where that goes. And I'm so happy that I had that kind of training from collaboration, where you do just zip your instinct to say no and just run with it. Because I love what we've written. And it was all because I was listening to Sara going, actually, what makes the show interesting for me is if one of them isn't human. Now, why that was the case, who knows?
I don't know.
But it's really worked, and it does give it, now I can see, now looking at it, it gives it something else because one of them is an angel, and it introduces the whole otherworldly elements which wouldn't be there if it was just a date in real time between 2 humans.
Nice.
So yeah.
Let's talk about Fallen Angel a little bit more. You gave us a brief outline of the concept, but what tell us a little bit about the synopsis of the show.
So it's a two-hander romantic comedy folk pop musical. So it was always going to be a challenge to find 2 actors who could sing, play guitar, and act. And we were amazed by the people we found, and the 2 people that are doing it, Peter Willoughby and Emma McAllister, are just brilliant because they're really good at all those 3 things.
Yeah. The level of talent, I'm sure this is the same in Canada, but the level of talent in musical theatre is really
amazing,
unbelievable. You've got people who are really good actors, singers, and musicians. It's the triple threat, but kind of magnified. You just can't quite believe it.
Yeah.
And in terms of the story, it's set in real time, so it's set in a departure lounge.
LAX.
The angel Keeley, she's called, she has to take Zach onto a flight that's going to crash, basically. So she has to take him to his death. It's quite a morbid idea. But I wanted to play with that. The whole idea that we do have these guardian angels is actually quite a horrid part of the job. But then she knows he's going to have a hit.
Yeah, but Zach is a musician. He's been trying to make it in LA, and he's kind of given up. He has a wife back in England, and she's like, that's it, give it up, come back, get a proper job. I want to have kids. Give up your dream. So he doesn't really want to get on the plane. And of course, Keeley's been ordered by her boss to get him on the plane because his time is up. So, and then we won't tell you too much else, but it's does that happen? Does she put him on the plane or does she not? And
absolutely,
what are the consequences if she goes against her boss?
Yes, because we know that if she goes against the boss, she will lose her immortality. She loses her wings. But she's falling in love with him, and she knows that he'll have this big hit that he'll never know about if he dies. So I suppose, and that's the dilemma she's in, and that's the hook for the audience, which is, what would you do for love? What would you do in those circumstances? What would you give up? Would you give up your life? Would you save someone?
Yeah.
And I suppose that's a very relatable question, even though it's between an angel and a human. What would you do for love? Like, we wanted to also
thing.
And also, like, it is a rom-com, but I didn't want it to be a hot, but I didn't want it to be like a just kind of standard, there's a little bittersweet bit at the end. And I think sometimes those are the more moving bits anyway, where it's kind of love, but with a bit of anguish or angst or torment. It's not just a happy Hollywood ending. But I won't say what the ending is. Or have I said too much?
I'll just have to fly over there at some point.
You'll
or
have
somebody
to fly
will have
over
to
to see exactly what it is.
But if I sit down beside a woman named Keeley, I am not going near the plane. Just to let you know right now.
Don't get on a plane.
Do not get on a plane. Do not get on a plane.
So let's talk about the production. How did that come about?
So I worked with this brilliant producer. I used to be, during lockdown, I was part of a kind of theatre cooperative. And one of the members of the theatre cooperative was a director called Penny, who's a director, and then she started a small production company. And she put a show on of mine last year, which was very successful. And she wanted to work together again. And very kindly, she just kind of said, what shows have you got? She looked through my portfolio of work and then said, this is the one I want to put on next. And I was like, okay, that's really lovely. But, with but knowing that she's small and that this is a musical, it was very much like, then get Sara on board, see if that's something she'd like to do too, because we'd both been doing in the years since lockdown. We've both kind of been we've been doing different projects since lockdown. Like Sara's is in a country band, kind of country rock, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Called Honey Rider, which they've got, anyone wants to check them out, they've got really wonderful.
Really shameless plug. If we search for Honey Rider band.
Yeah, Honey Rider band. You'll see the band, you'll hear vocals. And I was writing plays, and also I was writing a skateboarding musical with another chap called Josh. I can give another plug for that in a second. But basically, but then it was like, no, but let's come back together for this project because it's something we both really loved, and it was going to have a launch and then didn't twice. So it was like, it really deserved that. And then finding a producer who wants to support that is just really, really lovely. And also, like I said, she has very clear aims for this production, which is, it's the first step on that ladder to getting your big West End show. Invite all the right people, get the audience buzz going, get your concept album. So there's lots of things that are now happening from this small production.
That's fantastic.
It's really, really exciting.
That's great.
You obviously, Jean-Paul, you said that you write your own shows as well. And it's like, there's nothing, the greatest privilege is to be sitting in the audience and someone is bringing your words, your music to life. A character that has only ever existed in your head before. is in front of you, brought to life. It's a
Mm.
huge privilege. Sometimes I had another premiere earlier in the year on another show, and someone was asking me afterwards, oh, how did that go, and blah de blah. And of course, when the show opens, nothing's perfect. There's lots of things that go wrong.
Yeah.
This is life. But I said the fundamental thing is I was sitting in that audience going, what a privilege. What
Mhm.
an enormous privilege.
Yeah.
There's a cast of 20 people singing my
Doing your
words,
show.
doing my show. And if I'm the bar humbugging about what went wrong with the sound, or, they skipped a line, I'm missing the point.
Mm.
Yeah.
Really, it's an enormous privilege.
I
We
know.
are
It's
so
so exciting. I
lucky.
mean, because I love Fallen Angel so much. Um, I suppose maybe because I'm a girl and it's a love story and um and also I know so many people like Zach, the character, the music business is really tough.
Mhm.
So I really kind of sympathize with him and I really want him to do well. But seeing Emma and Peter kind of bring the first time they started singing the duets together, oh my God, I was just like, because Giles and I had been doing them.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and so it was very exciting when they started doing the duets and they started connecting more and more and becoming the characters singing the songs, and my nose doesn't run like Giles, but I was definitely getting the hairs on my arms standing up, and I get quite emotional seeing them do it. In a different way actually. So when you just write a song and maybe someone picks it up and does a cover of it, that's still really lovely as well. But I suppose because this is part of a whole big story, I just find it like really moving and exciting. And like you say, Joe, just really lucky that someone liked it enough to put it on, and hopefully we can carry it on and take it somewhere
Yeah,
else and see where it goes. So it's an amazing process.
it is an amazing
Yeah,
process.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's really fun.
it's really fun. And
Mm.
they're sounding so good together.
Yeah,
They really are.
yeah.
We're so lucky.
And they work hard, man. Oh my
Oh my
God.
God,
They're
yeah.
so talented and they just like, wow, they just work.
Yeah.
They'll do it for hours if we want them to.
Yeah.
Well,
Obviously, we give them breaks. We give them breaks.
so I do have a question for you because it's more from the songwriting perspective. Because I've written plays as well, and whether it's a two-hander, a five-hander, or a 20-hander, it's not as big a deal to write because it's I don't know how to describe it, but it's you're writing a show, whether it's 2, 5, 10, or 15 people. But when you're writing songs for a show, and it's only two people. Do you find yourself, because of your pop background and you're writing songs for one person or a duet, was it easier to write a two-hander rather than a 10-hander where you have to worry about different voices and things like that? Because my thought is if I'm writing a two-hander, because I've never done that before, I have to worry about only two people on stage. I only have two different voices. So
Hmm.
when I write three songs for the same person, is it easier? Is it harder? Now, I'd love to hear your perspective of that.
Well, in a way, it's easier than writing for 20, a cast of 20, because you could just be very focused on the two characters and the emotions as you go through the show and what we wanted to say in each song. Um, but also, yeah, there's the pressure of, these two have got to carry the audience for 90 minutes. And yes, we've only got those two voices and two guitars. No pressure. So I think we worked on trying to make each song kind of as different as possible. I mean, I suppose they all have a kind of folk pop
Mhm.
style running through them, but trying to change, even just change up the rhythms and the guitar rhythms. So yeah, it is a challenge. We'll see how it works.
Well, I know the songs work because we play some of them on the station from as a sidebar. I was looking back through my emails going, when was the last time I talked to you? And I was looking through my emails, and in September of 2020, I got one from you guys saying, we just finished a cast album from our new show, Fallen Angel. So it's so exciting that it's almost been
Oh,
5 years
Yeah,
since that
this is
cast album
it.
came out, and now we get to see it on stage. So
yeah. It's just, I don't know where the time's gone, actually. It
I
just,
mean, it is scary,
it,
isn't it? But
mm,
as we all know, this is how long it takes as
I
well.
know.
It's like it's 4 years to get to the next step, and maybe it will be another four to the next step up the ladder. I don't know, but I mean, I mean, I know that the right people are now coming to the show in 2 weeks' time,
yeah.
and I'd love any of your listeners. There's still a few tickets on. I think the Friday is the best day to come if anyone's around. Um, but uh, but yeah, it does take that long. It's amazing. It really is amazing. You just got to be in there and believe that you've got something that's fun and interesting and entertaining that deserves, I suppose, to get up that next step of the ladder.
So I
Mm.
assume rehearsals have already started. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Now,
started.
I was going to say, have you been sitting in on them and seeing them? And has there been moments in the show where the performers bring something to the song or the scene that you went, I didn't think of that. That how did they came up with something that you went, oh wow, they found a moment that maybe I didn't see because you're singing the songs and you're writing it in your head and then see it embodied in somebody else. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. So, I mean, musically, definitely. I mean, they both, will play around with the melodies a bit, or they'll suddenly chuck in some really interesting ad libs. Um, and Emma has a beautiful, she's almost got a Celtic lilt to her voice. So she kind of adds this different interest in the way she sings it. She kind of trills. It is so that's really lovely. And Peter's great on the guitar, and he's just like adding in guitar bits that um I hadn't put in, and he's like, I thought, what about this bit? And I'm like, yeah, do that. That's great. So they're both in both way, and both of them musically and vocally are, yeah, adding bits in, which is fantastic. Lucky to have them. And I think,
Yeah.
and
I think the thing is what it was for me was we've seen I don't attend all rehearsals because I think sometimes having the writer there can be a
Yes.
bit intimidating for the cast as well. And then always
I have to be there. I'm doing the music. I'm musically directing it, so I'm
yeah,
there, obviously doing the songs with them. But Penny's doing
yeah,
the
she's the overall
script
director,
with them.
exactly. So I have, but when I have popped in, I've just been blown away. I've seen the first half run now completely straight through, and it was great. It was just really, really lovely. I think the surprise, I suppose it's it's more that there's a moment in the script that you've written. But what's really lovely is when you see the way that the director and the cast have interpreted that. And they've understood what you wanted to say, but then they've taken it away and it's visualized in just this brilliant way that just really blows you away. And you're like, wow, you've really got that. Just with the way that they've decided to accentuate things in the script with movement or with a look or with a pause or all those things that are added in when you do your directing and the actors understand the characters. So that's what's really been amazing. I suppose, yes, surprise is a good way. It's more like it's like it's that happiness when someone really understands what you're trying to say, which is a real joy. But then, like you say, they build on it. They build
Mm.
on it and they take it somewhere, and you go, wow, you've really taken that and you've run with it, and it looks brilliant, and I'm blown away.
And I've never really been involved in kind of a love story before. So, and it's, these two, they didn't know each other. And I'm always amazed how, they've got to make it look really real that they're falling in love, and they really are. And it's, and it's romantic and it's sexy and it's, and I'm always amazed watching actors like, oh, how do you like act that, you know.
We've got
But they really have, and there's some moments I'm like, oh my goodness, my goodness.
Yeah, there's a
in a good way.
sequence. Obviously, because they're both writing a song together, there's a sequence, like in Ghost where they're making the clay pot together. Obviously there's a sequence where they're writing a song together, but it's that, that overlap between kind of creativity and intimacy and all of that. And we have that, they just really nailing. So it really is, you really get that sense of all of those kind of boundaries, merging when they're writing a song together, but they're falling in love with each other.
That's fantastic. Awesome.
Well, biggest question is, how do people get to know about the show? How do people get tickets if there are any left? What are the social media, the websites about the show and yourselves as well?
Gosh, there's lots. Yeah,
there are so many. On Instagram, it is Fallen Angel Musical.
Yeah.
So
Sara at Fallen Angel Musical, there's a ticket link there.
There is a ticket link there. The Drayton Arms Theatre is at Drayton Arms SW5.
Yeah.
It's in South Kensington. Very nice theatre.
There is a Sara and Giles Instagram at Sara and SaraAndGiles. The ticket link's there.
There's at Writer Giles. Yeah. There's at Sara. There are so many. We could spend half an hour giving you the Instagram. It's interesting, actually. I'm sure this is true for a lot of people, but one of the big changes over the past 5 years, of course, is that Twitter, when it was called Twitter, was definitely a big platform for creativity and so on. Obviously, for a number of reasons, that has declined quite heavily. And definitely, I would say Instagram now is the huge vehicle for promoting.
Yeah.
So,
you can also go on Facebook. Is it Fallen
We are
Angel
Fallen Angel Musical on Facebook as well.
Yeah, so for simplicity, if you just on Facebook or Instagram, just go to at Fallen Angel Musical,
and you will find
there will be a ticket link there.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys both for coming on, telling us about the show, telling them about the show, because I already knew about the show. So I've been following this for, like I said, 4.5 years. So that's fantastic. But before we go, is there anything you want to promote? Anything you've been working on that you want to let people know about? Giles, you want to start with you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've just written a skateboarding musical, which has had
called
Flip.
It's brilliant.
Which has had 2 productions so far. And it is going to be developed with our National Youth Music Theatre here in the UK in April. So there is an Instagram there, Flip the Musical. There's a concept album, Flip the Musical, on Spotify. So yeah, that's something to look out for. And then I guess if anyone's following Sara and Giles, you'll see some of our previous projects. Maybe one of those will come to life in another way one day. Who knows?
Well, yeah, they will. We've got so many projects that we can work on. We have a body of work that should be, more things will come out.
And then Sara's got her country band. I know that they've got 2 gigs coming up. One in May.
Yeah, I think May and June, and actually one of them's up in Staffordshire. And I can't remember where the other one is. Sorry, Lindsay will kill me. Sorry,
Disdale.
Yeah, it's a
kind of country rock festival.
Yeah, festival thing.
It's June, I think that is.
So that if you on Instagram, it's at Honey Rider Band. If you want to go and check out my band life. So yeah.
You didn't think when you asked us, Jean-Paul, that you would really, it's like 10 minutes of Instagram addresses, what we've got coming up, plug.
Like I said, I just got back. I fed the cat again and then came back. I just let you guys talk. So I kind of missed all that stuff in the middle, but I'll listen to it back. I'll hear it. So. But it sounds like I'm going to have you back on for Flipped.
Oh,
some of the songs. If
absolutely, that would be amazing. So. Yeah, we're very lucky with Flip. The concept album was sung by this amazing singer who was in the Six tour, and she has an absolutely stunning voice.
Mm.
Yeah, we're very, very, very lucky to have her singing our songs.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, we'll have to
But
talk about that.
there's a lot, as I said, we've got a long list of musicals. We'll look, maybe, I hope it's not another 4.5 years before we see you
I
again.
hope not. I really hope not. Because it's a pleasure talking to you guys, and I do love your songs, especially one of my favorites is it's from Country Dream, and I forget the name, but it has the word bottle in it.
Oh, that's yes,
Yeah,
that bottle ain't your
Bottle
friend.
Ain't Your Friend.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love that song. Whenever it comes
Yeah,
on, I'm
it's
like,
a really good song. That is the one that actually was covered by a UK artist on
Yeah,
his.
Shane Ritchie did a country album, and he's a very much beloved actor here.
Yeah,
He was
in the UK.
He was in EastEnders, which is a really big show in the UK. And yeah, he did this great country album, and he
he's
really
done
loved
his
that
version
song.
of that, and he's done a very, it is his version. He's
Yeah.
made it
Yeah.
his.
Yeah,
but it's lovely. Yeah,
it's great. Well, I love the country musical, so
that could be one.
it might be one that
might be in a year or two. We'll be
gets
chatting to you going, it's Country Dream. I think there's a real opening there as well. There isn't necessarily a good country musical, and I think there's a view sometimes that maybe that isn't the musical theatre arena, but actually we would love to get country music into musical theatre. And it's a story about, it is a story about a very relevant story, because if you think about what happened with Beyonce when she was then singing at the Country Music Awards and the backlash that she had, it's a very relevant story for now about country music. So anyway, we hope we will be back in a year or two and we'll be chatting about that.
That'll be fantastic.
Go buy tickets to Fallen Angel.
Fallen Angel. It's all about Fallen Angel.
And where can they hear it outside of musical theater radio? Where can they hear the song?
So it is on Spotify, but Spotify is the concept album that we were obviously talking to you about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The current cast we hope will have time to record, probably not the full album, but probably an EP of like maybe 3 or 4 of the songs, which will also be out on Spotify in time to, coinciding with the preview run on the 20th, starting on the 25th of March.
Yeah.
And that will also obviously be on Deezer and Apple, it will be on all the major platforms.
Yeah. And the concert album, can I just have a shout out to
yes,
Naomi,
we must.
Sarah and Callum Hughes, who just were fantastic. And we recorded that in lockdown, like all separately. Everyone
and they both sound brilliant.
They're both fantastic, and unfortunately we couldn't.
Yeah, for a number of reasons they weren't available to do the show, but we must. You're absolutely right. We must have a huge shout out to them for their initial driving of the project 4 years ago. They're both brilliant artists with amazing voices, really good actors, and you will see them. I don't doubt it. They're going to be mega stars in their own right.
Yeah. So so you can listen to them doing the concept album on Spotify, and soon Peter and Emma are cast now. You'll be able to hear them soon. on Spotify. So but you can hear all the songs before now. So
awesome. Well, I look forward to hearing the new versions of the songs and the new cast and hearing how the show went. We'll have to get back together at some point in the future when you got the new shows that you want to promote and talk about this old ones and all that stuff. But it is great, again, like I said, to talk to you two again. And let's not make it 4.5 years next time.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure to catch up after all this time. So thank you so much.
And John Paul, thank you so much for all the support you give to new productions and actors and the writers and everybody. Thank you. We really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right. So we were just speaking with Sara and Giles, the creators of Fallen Angel. Again, if you are in London, go to the Drayton Arms Theatre March 25th to the 29th, or at least check to see if they have tickets, because if they've sold out, that's awesome for them. Not so good for you, but then you can go and listen to the new cast recording when it comes out and the new songs and check out all their old stuff. They're fantastic people. So make sure you do that and support new musicals, because today's new musicals are tomorrow's classics. So check them out. Make sure you support them. All right. Tune in next week as we speak with another guest or guests about their life, love, and passion. That is musical theater. I'm your host, as always, Jean-Paul Jovanoff. Until next time, I'll see you when I see you.